And so, hi, I'm Sjoerd Gehring. I'm the Global Head of Recruiting and Employee Experience at Johnson & Johnson. And at J&J, we're super focused right now on creating a very differentiated employee experience for all people in the people ecosystem surrounding the company. What does that mean? It means that we are thinking through how we can attract and retain people for our business in more innovative ways than we've done in the past, whether that's through digital touch points, physical touch points, but at least that it's centered around the people in our ecosystem and that it's all connected. Culture at J&J is probably central to the employee experience that we have at the company. It's super collaborative, it is very patient-centric, it is credo-driven, which means that our corporate values align perfectly to the personal values of everyone who works here, and that drives a lot of the people experience at the company. So the way we think about how we treat people in the organization, the way that we put our patients first over anything else that we do, and the fact that we make credo-driven decisions is really important to the way we all work at J&J. The reason that we combine talent acquisition and employee experience is actually for a very good reason, which is we recruit roughly 2 people to the organization every single year, and in order for us to be able to sell a differentiating career at J&J, we need to make sure that we also live up to what we sell. And so the reason that employee experience and talent acquisition are integrated and fall under my responsibilities is to ensure that whatever we sell in the recruiting process, we're actually able to deliver when it comes to the employee experience at the company. The way we measure employee experience is primarily through being in constant contact with our employees around the world, asking them for feedback about what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. We are implementing Net Promoter Score as a key metric to measure employee experience, but so much of it is in direct feedback from employees, all kinds of different surveys and focus groups, and just making sure that we're very plugged into what the expectations and buyer values are of our employee base around the world. I think the term employee experience, or what we use internally at J&J is called people experience, is still a very, very new field. I can probably think of 10 or 15 other companies that are really seriously focused on employee experience in the industry today. And although the term is new, I don't think the strategic intent and solutions are necessarily new. It's just categorizing them and labeling them differently. I do think that the big shift that we're seeing in the HR industry today is that the solutions of the past were centered around processes, whereas the solutions of today and tomorrow, at least for companies like J&J, are very much centered around the employees or our people. And we define people experience slightly broader than just our employee base, but really the broader talent ecosystem surrounding J&J. So that includes our employees, our contractors, our alumni, our retirees that continue to play a role in the future of the company. And so although I think the term is new, the strategic intent isn't, but in our mind, employee experience or people experience is totally the future of HR. Well, we think that the talent ecosystem surrounding companies today is so dynamic, it's so fast, it's so quick, everyone can work everywhere. And so retaining the best talent for the organization is critically important for the success of J&J in the future. And so being plugged into this talent ecosystem surrounding the company and at a deep level understanding what those people are looking for in their employment contracts with organizations is really important. And so the reason why we're investing so much in employee experience is that we want to know exactly what people are looking for and then design talent solutions for the company that make sense, that resonate well, that keep people productive here at J&J. That's critically important for the success of the company longer term. Now, the top three reasons why I think employee experience fail for or across the board is one, if it isn't grounded or if they're not grounded in real employee feedback. Too often I'm seeing initiatives that are being funded and being approved without deep user insights or without deep employee insights. And although those are sometimes good ideas and they're well executed, if they aren't grounded in what employees are looking for, they often fail. The second thing is that they're often not global enough. They are either thought of in the US and then rolled out around the world, really without taking into consideration the different nuances that talent in different locations around the world really require. And then the third I would say is that often these initiatives are thought of without a real digital mindset. And so we take a very similar approach to the way that we solution things for our patients and our consumers around the world, with a digital mindset first versus digital or technology being an afterthought to how we think about employee experience. You know, so much is being written about millennials. I think a lot of it's right, also a lot of it is wrong. There's probably various different schools of thoughts around millennials. The approach that we take at J&J, and I'm lucky enough to be able to lead our employee resource group when it comes to millennials, which is the biggest employee resource group that we have across the organization. And the purpose of the employee resource group isn't to prove right or wrong, kind of what's true about millennials and what isn't, but it's a much more pragmatic approach about involving at a very deep level millennials across the organization to help design the right talent solutions for the employee base. And so we do believe, and we do see around the world, the millennials have different behaviors, they have different expectations, they have different reasons for staying with the organization than some of the other generations. There are a lot of global nuances. So for example, a millennial in China is absolutely looking for different things than a millennial in the US. And so we try to take a very targeted and segmented approach to how we think about employee experience across the world. So we do see that millennials are different. They're certainly more digital, they have a different mindset, they get influenced by different players in the ecosystem, and that's the reason why employee experience is important, not just for the millennial generation, but really needs to be a cross-generational effort to ensure that J&J stays a relevant employer for all generations that we're trying to attract and retain to the company. You know, the new wave of technologies out there that is available is just incredibly exciting when you think about the roles that we all play in the HR space. Automation, artificial intelligence, robotics, often we think of those technology solutions as patient-facing or customer-facing, but they're also employee-facing. And so I couldn't think of a more exciting time to apply technologies like AI and like robotics to the employee experience space. And so some of the things that we're thinking about, certainly from an automation and artificial intelligence perspective, is how can you find really natural ways for technology to augment an experience that an employee has in the company, whether that's through chatbots or through recommendation engines that would suggest different jobs or different training or different contexts in the organization for them to grow and develop their careers, all the way down to how we think about training and development and promotion of employees across our workforce. And so when we start to think about our technology strategy supporting the human capital strategy of the organization, artificial intelligence plays a critical role in the way we think about the future of talent management, the future of HR, and also the future of the experiences across the organization that our employees enjoy. You know, what I get most excited about for this conference is just hearing what other companies are doing in this space. This is such a new, evolving area of HR. We're convinced that it's the future of HR, certainly for J&J. I know a lot of organizations are thinking about it, are doing exciting things in this space. I'm excited to learn more, to share, and to create the future of HR together.